Hey, it's Mike from Hillside Hives. I just wanted to do a video for my autoimmune followers. As you know, I've been dealing with Hashimoto's thyroiditis for 2 years now. Actually, 2 years, 2 days ago is when I discovered my diagnosis of Hashimoto's. It's funny when I look back. I was, first looking up Hashimoto's and I thought, those poor people, what they go through. Little did I know, right? But now we're on the track to getting better, I hope. My last video I was talking about not feeling well and how I was getting through winter and thought it was the vitamin D issue. I've been on 10,000 international units of vitamin D now, orally for the past like 3 weeks. Have the Happy Light going every day that my friend bought me. It's doing pretty good. And as you can tell, it's the middle of December and I'm outside. Remember what I said last time? Get outside as often as you can. We're having like a heat wave here in the middle of winter in New Hampshire. It was like 32 degrees up here, so it feels pretty good today. And as you can tell, beautiful sunset over the hills of Vermont back there. So I wanted to continue on my talk about diet. So as 2 years ago that I went gluten-free, best decision I ever made. Now I just want to talk about gluten a little bit. So gluten, there's a misconceptions about gluten, and this is just one theory behind gluten. It's just what I feel about gluten after 2 years of researching on gluten. There's things like gluten intolerance, gluten sensitivity. I don't have a true gluten allergy. There's only 1% of the whole population that has diseases that have gluten allergy, which is, like I said, 1%, which is the true celiac disease. And I feel bad for those folks too. They go through a rough time with their disease. The rest of us have like maybe a gluten sensitivity, gluten intolerance, but really not a true gluten allergy. So what they say about gluten, there's now two different paths that I want to talk about. The first path is, do we really have gluten sensitivities? A lot of people don't have gluten sensitivities, but if you talk to functional medicine, if you have an autoimmune disease, you stay away from gluten. What they're saying is not really the gluten, that it actually could be what they're spraying on the wheat here is the Roundup or the glyphosate, I think it's called, glyphosate or something like that. So what the farmers do, and I don't knock farmers, I'm not knocking farmers on this, I actually knock our government on this, but what they do is they spray Roundup, even on organic wheat. They spray Roundup right before it's harvested, 10 days before it's harvested, because it increases seed production of the wheat. So you have all those chemicals, and what the research study just showed, which I have to look it up again to reference it, but it showed that's not really the gluten, it's but what we're doing to the wheat that's causing so many sensitivities. Now, if you take the functional medicine path with gluten, and which is what I totally go by, and I will not eat gluten anymore. So what they think is gluten, there's a molecule in gluten, the protein molecule in gluten is called gliadin. So when that breaks down, if you have what's called leaky gut, which a lot of us have that we don't know, and there's a lot of information out there on leaky gut syndrome. So that protein actually goes, instead of going through your digestive system, there's actually leaky areas in your gut where it actually gets absorbed into your bloodstream. So this gliadin molecule, there's antibodies that form against this gliadin molecule. And this gliadin molecule looks awful lot, for me, like in my case, looks like the thyroid. So these molecules, I had a leaky gut, all this protein went over into my bloodstream, along with a lot of toxins that went to the bloodstream. If you look up leaky gut, we'll do another whole one on leaky gut. So I got all these antibodies against those proteins, and then it just looks like my thyroid. So they said, hey, this is the thyroid's an invader, so we're going to attack the thyroid. So that's how I got the autoimmune disease. That's one theory, which I'm going by. I like it. So anyway, been gluten-free now for 2 years. 65 pounds I've lost, but I've done a little bit of exercise, but cutting out the gluten, cutting out the processed sugars. But I just wanted to clarify that up about the gluten. So it's interesting if you, again, I'm not going to go back to gluten. People, it's not like you can have some gluten if you have autoimmune disease, because if you have leaky gut, that protein's going to get through. So basically, once you're gluten-free, it has to be 100% gluten-free. Be careful of the gluten-free products that are out there. I went on this gluten-free product binge once and got really sick. So be careful with the products that are out there. Just research them a lot. Anything that contains gluten, stay away from wheat products. That's the best I can offer. And stay away from processed foods. Processed foods are really bad for you. I know it takes a long time to be cooking meals, but that's the best thing. So I just want to touch on those glutens. If you have gluten issues, if you have any questions about that, do some research, contact me. Let me know what you want to talk about. I'm going to go on to talk more about food in my next couple videos coming up, and kind of what I've done over the past 2 years in my diet aspect of my autoimmune disease that I think has helped me out a lot. If you anything else you want to know about, questions, just leave comments. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and stay in touch. All right, thanks much.